Mitty. Mitty became the victim of a cruel experiment. Two important people in her story are Nanachi, her close friend, and Bondrewd, a scientist who did terrible things in the name of research. Bondrewd wanted to study the curse of the abyss, especially what happens when people try to return from the sixth layer. Mitty was one of several orphaned children taken by Bondrewd to a place called Edo Front, his lab near the fifth layer. There, he ran experiments using a machine with two pods. He placed Mitty in one pod and Nanachi in the other. The machine was made so that one person would take all the effects of the curse and the other would be protected. Mitty was the one who got the curse. Because of this, Mitty's body changed in a horrible way. She became a Narehate, a type of creature made from the curse. Her body was no longer human. It was deformed and hard to look at, but her mind was still inside. She couldn't speak and she could barely move, but she still reacted to Nanachi and showed that she cared. Mitty couldn't die, even when badly hurt. Her body healed every time, but each time she looked worse. She was in pain all the time, but she still tried to comfort Nanachi when she could. After escaping from Edo Front, Nanachi took Mitty with her. She fed her, talked to her, and worked hard to find a way to stop her pain. But nothing worked. Mitty's healing powers made it impossible for her to die naturally. Then Nanachi met a boy named Reg, who had a weapon called the incinerator. This weapon could destroy anything, even something that couldn't die like Mitty. Nanachi asked Reg to use it to help Mitty. It was a hard choice, but Nanachi knew it was the only way to end her friend's pain. Reg used the incinerator, and Mitty was finally set free. Faputa is the princess of the Narehate. She was born from her mother's wish using a cradle of desire. Her main purpose was to take revenge on the people who hurt her mother. Irumyui was a young girl from the Ajapoka, a group of explorers who went deep into the abyss. After getting trapped in the sixth layer, the group needed a way to survive. They used the cradle of desire to grant wishes, but it came at a high cost. Irumyui started giving birth to many children as part of this plan, but all of her babies died shortly after birth. This caused her terrible pain and sadness. Later, Irumyui was changed into the core of the village called Ilublu. Her body and soul became part of the village. Before fully losing her human self, she gave birth to one last child, Faputa. This time, the child was born through her strongest wish for revenge. Faputa was not allowed inside Ilublu even though it came from her mother. That's because her goal was to destroy the village, and the villagers knew this. While Faputa was full of anger, she also had strong feelings of love, especially for Reg. Faputa cared about Reg and called him her treasure, but Reg had lost his memories and didn't remember their time together, which made Faputa very upset. Even so, she still cared about him. When the village was first made, some parts of Faputa's body were taken and used in its creation. To enter the village and destroy it, Faputa needed to get those missing parts back. With help from Reg and Rico, she got her body parts returned and was finally able to go inside Ilublu. Faputa started her attack right away. She broke buildings and killed many of the Narehate villagers. Even though this was her goal, it hurt her to do it. These people had lived with her mother, and she had mixed feelings. But she didn't stop. She finished what she was born to do, destroy the village and end the pain that started with her mother. Nanachi. As you know, Mitty ended up taking the curse and lost her human body, turning into a Narehate. Nanachi also lost their human body but was not deformed like Mitty. Instead, Nanachi turned into a creature with fur, long ears, and a bunny-like appearance. They still had their memories and thoughts. Nanachi escaped from Edo Front and took care of Mitty, who couldn't die and was always in pain. Nanachi studied the abyss deeply and learned a lot about the curse and how to treat some of its effects using medicine and special methods. Later, Nanachi went to the village of Ilublu, which was created using the body of Irumyui and run by the three sages. One of the sages, Belaf, had used a part of Mitty as part of his value, which was a way to hold on to things that mattered in the village. Belaf offered Nanachi a deal. They could stay with Mitty, but they would lose their freedom. Nanachi agreed because they couldn't leave Mitty behind. When Reg and Rico arrived at the village, they found Nanachi and helped them break free from Belaf's control. Belaf, who had started to feel regret, gave Nanachi the rest of Mitty's value and let them go. Nanachi rejoined Reg and Rico, and they continued exploring the deeper layers of the abyss together. Belaf was one of the original members of the Ajapoka, the group that went deep into the abyss to explore and find a place to live. When they reached the sixth layer, things got really bad. Many people in the group died from the dangerous environment and the effects of the abyss. The ones who survived couldn't go back up because of the curse. To keep the group alive, their leader Wazukian started using the Cradle of Desire. This relic could grant wishes, but it needed something painful in return. The group used Irumyui, a young girl who was part of their team. She was turned into a creature that kept giving birth to babies. The group then ate those babies to survive, which was horrifying. Belaf couldn't handle the guilt from what they were doing. He felt sick about it, so he gave himself to the Cradle of Desire, just like Irum Yui did. The cradle turned him into a Narehate, a person who survives the curse of the abyss but ends up in a twisted body. Belaf later became one of the 3 sages who helped run the village of Ilblu, which was built from Irum Yui's body. In the village, people used something called value to trade important things like memories, feelings, or body parts. Belaf stored parts of his body and memories as value and traded them with others. In the end, Belaf helped Faputa by giving her his memories and value so she could understand her mother's pain and destroy the village of Ilblu. After that, Belaf died. Nishagora. Nishagora was a member of the Ganja Corps. After using the Cradle of Desire, some of the group members, including Nishagora, were turned into Narehate. Nishagora's body was changed. He didn't forget who he was and felt sad about what happened to the group and the awful choices they made. Nishagora stayed in the village of Ilblu. When Faputa attacked the village to carry out her mother's wish, many Narehate were killed. Nishagora was one of the villagers who most likely died during the destruction of Ilblu, though his death wasn't shown directly. Ajapoka. Ajapoka was also a member of the Ganja Corps and went into the 6th layer of the abyss. He helped the team gather supplies and played a part in building the village of Ilblu, which later became home to the Narehate. Ajapoka was deeply affected by what happened to Irum Yui. He saw how her body was changed. The group used this relic in a desperate attempt to survive. Ajapoka was disturbed by the pain she went through and the choices the group made to stay alive. Eventually, Ajapoka, like most of the Ganja Corps, turned into a Narehate. As a Narehate, he lived in Ilblu. Ajapoka wasn't a major character in the story, and he didn't have a big role in later events, but he was most likely still living in Ilblu when Faputa attacked the village. The attack destroyed much of the village and killed many Narehate. Although we don't see Ajapoka's death on screen, it's very likely he died during that attack.